Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name's Jade, and this is The Interview. And today on The Interview we have Azza Bok from Frankenbok. He's an old friend, he's awesome, his music's killer. And we're going to kick off with their brand new track, Dopamine, from Frankenbok. Are you ready to oge? Let's fucking do it. Hello and welcome to the show. My name is Jade and this is the interview. I hope you're all doing well. That was the brand new single from Frankenbok. What a killer clip. It was Dopamine. I got a new ping and it's just come out from the album Irrepressible. You're doing well out there. I'm doing well. It's Friday morning here in Australia, Thursday for the rest of you living in the US and UK. Thank you all for being here in the chat. Good to see a bunch of you here. You know the drill. We'll say hello to you in the next 30 minutes. We'll do some shout outs and all that. Once people will get their asses in here, we're all good to go. Very special guest on the show today, somebody who I've known for a very, very long time and is possibly in one of the longest running metal bands in Australia, working without a break. There you go. I need to put that in there. But first, we need to speak about our sponsor, of course, and that, of course, is our good friends at DistroKid. DistroKid are your one-stop shop to get your music released on all the major places like Apple, Spotify, Amazon, all of them. There's so many you can poke a stick at and you'll still have room to poke holes in. DistroKid offer you the chance to release your music for $22.99 annually. And if you use my promo code that is in the description, in the chat, and up the top there, distrokid.com/VIP/JadeStar, you'll get 7% off your first year. There are 3 tiers for you to use DistroKid, the Musician Plus plan. The Musician plan, which is $22.99 annually, you get one artist. You get to upload as many songs as you want, as many albums as you want. You get a Spotify verified check mark, royalty splits with other people if you do collaborations, and a whole bunch of great tools to promote the crap out of your music. You also get access to a mobile app. There's a Musicians Plus tier for 2 artists, $39.99. And the ultimate plan is the one I use, where you get 5 artists, because I am greedy and have too many artists to name, and that is $89.99. DistroKid have been sponsoring this show for a damn long time, and I thank you very much. If you want to release your music, do it through DistroKid. They are the best, in my opinion, and I've been using them way before they sponsored this channel back in 2016. So, of course, thank you, DistroKid, for sponsoring the show. We'll hear a little bit more about them as the show goes on. So, yes, here we are, Friday morning, and our guest has been gracious enough to get out of bed at the god-awful hours, what I have to get up every day to do this show. It's 8 a.m. here. Man, I can't even remember the age when I met this dude, but he's played in so many wicked bands. He continues to be gigging artist, putting out amazing albums through numerous lineup changes. And you know what? He hasn't changed an absolute bit since I first met him. Absolute 100% true to the bone legend, Azza Bok, a.k.a. Aaron Butler. Let's bring him on the show, get him on here and stop me yapping this rubbish. So without further ado, from Frankenbok, folks, a round of applause. Bring him up here, Azza Bok. What's going on, my friend? Good to see you, mate.
Hello.
How you going?
Fantastic. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for coming on here. I asked you back in December to come on. I knew you had an album coming out, and I always want to promote people when they've got a brand new album out. The album's dropped. What's your take on the new album? How are you enjoying it?
I keep saying this, and I think some people don't believe me because I've probably said it before, but it's my favorite album. It's the one that I've done that after all the writing and after all the recording and everything that you go through, by the time it comes out, you sort of can't stand it. Whereas I was saying to, the guys, this is by far the most enjoyable thing I've done. This is my favorite one for lots of reasons, the way it came about and all that. But I still legitimately enjoy listening to it.
We were saying before the show, I noticed that you seem like you're having a really good time at the moment being in a band. Because, look, we all know being in a band is not those sunshine and lollipops and happy roses and dancing in meadows. It's hard work, and there's a lot of fucking ups and downs and lineup changes and all the shit that goes on that you have to push through. What is it about what's going on at the moment that's really energized your batteries?
Anything goes, fun and friendship. That's what's happening at the moment. The chemistry within the band is beautiful. We rehearse for, we run through the set and all that, but it becomes a late night because the laughter doesn't stop of us, just hanging around watching videos and doing what friends do. I feel like, we're 16-year-old and we've just started our first high school band. and we're having all the fun in the world, but I'm this far down the road that I'm actually well schooled enough to appreciate and enjoy what we've got now. It's not just like, oh, this all is just happening. It's taken a lot to get it here. So just appreciating that doesn't matter who I have to sit next to on the plane. I love every member, and everybody's just great to be around. And there's sort of nothing that we sort of can't overcome as for individuals. We're, it's just so fun at the moment. And as you would know, with music, there's not a whole lot of crackers that come through. You don't really get paid. So if it's not fun, you're not getting paid anything. And right now, our bank of fun is bursting at the seams, which is great.
It's the one thing I recall from our time knowing each other, that from the bands we were in back in the day, back in the old school days, that we used to have a lot of fucking fun and we could say whatever the fuck we wanted. And we were, I don't know, I felt like back when we were doing music, hanging out together, we were kind of a bit rebellious against the rest of the kind of scene where everybody was also, I'm very serious about metal, and yeah, it's one of the things that I've always thought about you and the music that you make. So that's really cool to hear that.
Yeah, and as you're saying, being rebellious against the scene, that's exactly who we still are. And there's been, with certain lineups that we had, that things got a little bit more serious and a little bit more, to following the suit of what metal is. But I think with Hutchie being back in the band, it's like, the idiots are back in town and anything is allowed. And if we're going to offend some people, like, we have no intention of ever offending anybody, but at the same time, we're going to do whatever we want, like it or lump it. And, and if we are upsetting the apple cart of, metal or what music's supposed to be, and we're not wearing the correct uniform or looking the right way or doing the right breakdowns, well, good, so be it, that we're doing our job right.
Absolutely. So with that video clip, you went out on a day trip. I will find out. So you went and shot that on location. As people would have seen in the video clip, that was no green screen bullshit. Now, you injured yourself on that shoot. Was that the shoot you hurt yourself on?
Planned. I do that every album. It's my annual break. And I'm not kidding here. There was like the going back to 3 albums ago, I got attacked by a giant Rottweiler, which almost killed me. And savaged both my arms, and almost killed me. And that was right before Vicious Lawless, which is hence the big Rottweiler on the cover. And then when we did the album after that, I had 3 weeks beforehand, I was on my motorcycle, and the car in front of me had a trailer, lost all its load, and it hit me while I was doing 100 Ks on the freeway and broke both my arms right before 3 weeks before the tour started. And then this one, doing the video, I broke my hand on the Saturday, and the following Sunday we played a show with playing a gig with the hand like a packet of Sandboy chips. My thumb was in a million pieces. We managed to play. The actual show is actually on YouTube somewhere at Cocoa Bananas, and my hand looks like a knee. And the following day, I had surgery, and they gave me a mechanical hand. So it's really strange. It really does seem to happen every time.
You've always been a bit of a thrill seeker.
Yeah, I don't. You mess with the bull, you get the horns.
You sure do. And when I saw you laid up in hospital, I was like, oh my fucking God, what the hell has happened now?
Yeah, a lot of people thought, oh, okay, as is sharing like memories, from Facebook. No, this is a brand new one. It's and every time, and I've gotten very, very good at healing, but I'm like at the point this time, like, what, I know exactly what to do and how to get over this, but I am at the point of, right, I'm getting pretty tired of mending bones before shows, but I can't say that I've learnt my lesson.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect anything less, pretty much.
I've got one limb left that doesn't have steel in it and bolts and joints and all that sort of stuff, but we've got another couple of albums to do, so we'll get that sorted out.
So, as the 13th Mangina would say, you are absolutely metal.
I just took a couple of the members through all the Mangina stuff, just a week ago. Like, have you seen this? You haven't seen this? No, you got to check this out because I think it's classic.
Dude, I got blamed for that for so many years, and it wasn't me.
I don't know who it was.
No, I know. I think he came out recently.
Yeah, you know that.
He totally came out of the closet, told everybody, I think, so good on him.
And he goes walking in the forest and finds a brutal man. It's so good.
The Bajurka. Let's get down to business. So I normally ask everybody the same 4 questions, and I'm going to treat you no differently. Aaron, what does music mean to you?
Music is more important than food. It's essential to my life. It's everything. Like, you know, living your life is like it's like your own personal movie, and there's not too many movies out there without a soundtrack, and music is the soundtrack to my life, and which is why I play hurty, heavy, nasty music, you know, at times, but I don't listen to that because they're saying it's like food. I'm not always in the mood for steak, you know. I'll different music for different moods.
It's true, isn't it? Like, man, I love some of the most extreme metal out there, you know, stuff that most people would say, please turn that off. It's utter fucking noise, not even grindcore, just sheer fucking noise. But you can't listen to it. You can't listen to it all the fucking time. You got to have like some other influences or your metal's just going to sound exactly the fucking same forever.
It's pretty good, but if you eat it every single meal, you'll kind of be like wishing for a piece of celery or something, you know?
Yeah, totally.
There's definitely, but then occasionally I crave woodwind.
Me too. When you're a young Bok and
Yes.
You're at home, what was the music that was played by your family in the household? Did it influence you? Did it torture you? Has it almost institutionalized you? And who were some of those artists that your family played when you were young?
My following in the footsteps of my father somewhat. He was always an entertainer. I think when he was 14 years old, he was the drummer and the singer in a band called Purple Haze. So he's playing with all these 18-year-olds, and he's like the, you know, the young kid behind the drums doing the vocals, and they were doing all Deep Purple covers and stuff like that. So, you know, since I've been a young man, you know, my father was always influencing me with like, yeah, Black Sabbath and Deep Purple and all the old school rock and roll, and you know, even and I think my diverse interest for music, because it wasn't just, you know, some people grow up with, you know, music with parents with that, you know, we'll play them, you know, old 70s rock and roll and all that. But my father was the same with, you know, he's Deep Purple, but he's also Mike Oldfield. This is Tubular Bells, and you know, and it's generations later. It's amazing with my kids. You know, some of them are 23 now, and they, you know, I'll hear them listening to, you know, the most brutal stuff in the world, but then their 80s playlist kicks over, and then they're listening to the Pogues and all that. So yeah, it's trickled down, which is great. But I'll go further into it. I sit right before you right now, for no other reason than I grew up more so with my grandparents, and it's my brother's fault for influencing me in playing in bands and telling me that, you know, you got to check out the Butthole Surfers, man. And I'm like, the Butthole Waters, you know, and you know, why would I want to hear a band like that now? I know the brilliance of them. But I think it was at my brother's 16th birthday party where I was, you know, like 12 years old or something like that. And everyone was doing what 16-year-olds do at a party. And then I heard Anarchy in the UK blasted through a stereo, and the energy, something got to me, and I went, I now know what my path in life is. And it was that's what lit me up. Like, I must at all costs. I stopped playing football and all that, and just, you know, spiked up my hair. And next thing you know, I'm, you know, in a punk rock band when I was like 14, you know.
It's funny, you know, we haven't hung out for forever, right? But I said to you before this stream, like, we of course, we've got, I guess, semi more responsible as we've got older, I guess. Maybe. Okay.
I have kids. Does that make me feel irresponsible? People have kids too. So, yeah, I don't know.
That'll do.
Yeah.
Well, I'm pretty much the same person, except I got tits now. But, you know, every time I see you on Facebook or follow anything you do, I just go, Same old Azza Bok, you know.
Change, and that's with discrepancies with other members in the band that I've had in the past, or with just people in life. I state my case of like, hey mate, you know me pretty well. What do you think it is that I want? Or who do you think I am? My prime objective is to play the music, make up some songs that we like, play the music, do it well, and put a smile on everyone's dial. And that's me. That's all I really, you know. I have not changed. People I run into from high school go, what are you doing these days? And I go, oh, so it's nothing different. I'm playing hurty music, and I'm not really any different. I've just got hair in different places now, and less of it here and more of it there. I turned 50 the other day, but I still feel 16.
It's funny, like I see you, and I don't know how anybody could like see you and go, oh, he plays in a band. Like, what are you going to say? I'm an accountant, actually.
Oh, me and Hutchie were out the other day, and Blake says to me, "Oh, hey, just careful, we've got a couple of bikers here." And it was a nice feeling because I felt, me and Hutchie are like, we could tell that they were scared of us. We're like, this is awesome. The most unthreatening people in the world, but shave your head and grow a beard and look like every other truck driver, and people are go, oh. Like being a full-back lizard, we're completely harmless. So you try and give the impression that you're dangerous, I guess.
Yeah, totally. So do you recall, I love this question, do you recall the first album that you ever purchased with your pocket money, and one that was given to you, the first one that was possibly given to you as a gift?
The first one that was given to me as a gift was from my Nana, good old Nana Bok. She gave me Hoodoo Gurus, Mars Needs Guitars for Christmas, along with a Walkman. Do I need to explain what that is for the kid?
No, I think most of my audience are fucking Gen X and up.
So she gave me, Mars Needs Guitar on cassette, and the Walkman. And back then I used to skate 24/7, and that cassette went in my Walkman. And back in the day, it used to go and change sides by itself. It was a really, very highly technical.
Wow.
Turn over bytes. I think it might have even had high speed dubbing. But but all I did for a long time was skate and just listen to Mars Needs Guitars, and that's when I was getting the feeling of like, I think I want to be a musician. I think I want to play. I want to do what they're doing. And then, as I said before, the 16th birthday party of my brother's, I heard Anarchy in the UK, and I'm just like, I am set. This is what I must do. And I think the first album that I actually purchased with my own money might have been Exploited or something like that. The band Exploited.
I find it really interesting what people's first album is, because fascinatingly enough, it adds up. You can hear it later on in people's music, I think.
Yeah, and it's funny when I talk about Hoodoo Gurus, Mars Needs Guitars. I just lost myself over the last weekend and sitting there with an acoustic guitar and working out all their songs and some of the things that I didn't appreciate back in the day because I thought the music was kind of simple. Like there's a brilliance in what they're doing, and to the point where I'm so excited about my roots, and I still think some of those songs are just incredible that I really want to. There's a particular Hoodoo Guru song that I want to give the "Don't Call Me Baby" treatment.
I think it's interesting over time how, like, especially when you're playing metal, there's this feeling that you've got to be super technical and you've got to really outclass yourself each time. But as you get older, you really do start to appreciate the simplicity of music that you used to maybe think, fuck, that seems a bit basic.
Yeah, it's funny, some of the bands that some of my favorite bands to listen to are the bands that I thought, fucking idiots when I was a kid, because I didn't get it and I wasn't ready for it. When you're young, you think it's about going as sick as you can and you turn the distortion up as hard as you can and you turn it up as loud as you can. But as you get older, the distortion comes down. You start playing more chords, but you actually want to hear a full chord, and you kind of realize that some of the beauty in music is not everything that you do. Sometimes it's what you don't do, and knowing how to hold back. And have some dynamics, with, so many bands are like, the song starts and it's brutal as fuck, and 10 songs later, it's just fucking more brutal. Whereas, if you hold back at times, then you get brutal. It's really noticeable.
Yeah, look, I've talked about this on this channel many times. The real skill, the art in making music, I believe, is learning what to remove. Because it's really hard, because you love every single thing that you put into a song. You're like, oh, but this makes it. But it's those things that you're able to take out which really bring songs to fucking life.
Yeah, I think vocally, Hutchie's just really, really learnt that himself. There was parts where I was like, maybe you could not wickety whack over that part there, and and so yeah, okay. And then he's actually sort of pulled it back a little bit, and he's like, you know what? That's something that can work for everybody. He's just sort of realized, giving things a little bit of a space to breathe rather than just be all over that. When you do come back in, it's like, it's noticeable, and it has the dynamics, and yeah, just knowing when to hold them and when to fold them is, makes a big difference. And I think with everybody, even with the drums, with metal music, the drums is almost like the lead instrument, and you can be doing all these blast beats and all these, crazy, technical, clever, off-time beats and all that. And from Faith No More, they, the way that Puffy plays drums, it's the most strange way of playing, and he's very rarely doing anything like it's just straight down the line. But when he breaks into a simple rock beat, it's like, wow. And, that's the stuff that's, these days I kind of noticed that really, really, like, the moment it gets simple and, give your audience a chance to find the groove and enjoy it for 5 seconds before you do a musical cartwheel and go back into a blast beat,
Yeah, man. Look, I remember being a youngster, being in Despised, and we'd play gigs, and they never knew where to put us with Despised. We played with so many different bands, I'm sure you know the same thing with Frankenbok. And you get up there and play, and most people are standing there just going, I don't even know what to fucking do to this. How do I react?
Yeah, and it's like sometimes we've written a song and we think it's the greatest thing in the world because it's hard and clever, and we put a lot of time into sort of getting it tight and right, and we'll play it live and go, this will knock them dead. And we play it and the people just go, what the fuck was that? They're like, you don't even see anyone going, because we realize we haven't even given them the chance. And then we play something which is maybe feels a little bit more slower, one of our rock numbers, and they go, that's the business.
Yeah. Let's play a track. I'm going to play a track called Stalker Stalker. This is an older track, and we'll come back and talk about that once we've played it. Folks, grab a hold of your ankles, because this one could hurt. All right, so...
one's got a bit of Master of the Universe in it as well.
Yeah! By the power of Grayskull, let's play this track right now. This is Stalker Stalker by Frankenbok. You ready? Let's do it. Boom!
This shit is dead.
Fucking check this shit out. Fucking psychopath. How's this? Fucking 20 plus messages from this fucking psycho chick.
How many?
20 plus? There's like fucking 30, 35 messages. You have a look at this shit.
The fuck?
You're a fucking psychopath. We've got to do something.
That's fucked, man. Nah.
It's just me. How is I a victim of choice? What made you a me? Who is it better to see? Am I the scapegoat? Who do you want me to be? Don't they look like me? Who is it better to see? Am I the scapegoat? Focus on your obsession. Drag me down to my mattress. Stop me, you have a problem. Keep me full of feeling twists and lunatic. The ceiling always was a bullet trigger.
In today's story, Elena tried taking a magic potion which she thought would help her. Well, she found out there aren't any magic potions. And you know what? There aren't any magic drugs either. Anytime you take one from anybody but your parents or your doctor, you're taking a very big chance. You're gambling with your health, maybe even your life. Drugs don't make your problems go away. They just create more.
Yeah, Roger. We're coming up to the old Hume Highway, or Sydney Road off-ramp. Craigie Burn signs, kilometre away, exit.
It's funny, man. I live in Craigieburn.
Gee, I haven't watched that for a while. I forgot that it was a movie.
It's great. I'm glad
It's
you.
story too.
Yeah, look, it resonated with me because even on this channel, I had a stalker for a little while on this channel, and it was pretty fucking. And I've had a real stalker in, away from music who stalked me for 2 years, and it's no fun, man. It really is.
It got really, really, really serious to the point where the police called all of my family and said, "Do not answer the door to anyone that you're expecting. You do not know." You know, and they said, "Don't play any shows," and all. It got right out of the hand. And the reason why it's called stalker is because me and my wife became stalkers because we were trying to track this person down to find out where they were, looking at all their photos, just like a stalker, trying to see something in the background as a landmark to find out where they might even be, where they're coming from and all that. You know, like I didn't know that the cars sitting out in front of my house weren't them watching me. It got really, really scary, especially even threatening to harm my kids and stuff, you know. It was out of control.
Yeah, I totally feel it, man. I remember going to the police over my one, and I had a file of stuff like so deep, and they just, we can't do anything about it. It's like, come on, man. Like she's this one, she actually like watched me on a live stream and took notice of where the inside of my apartment, and then went and looked for other apartments that may be on for lease, and it's just the bad thing was every apartment in my block looked exactly the same. She found me and put my address on a Nambla website. What the fuck?
Yeah, this chick put all of she made public all of my family, like she made all their addresses and, you know, my brothers and sisters, their kids and their schools, and like she did a great job. She's very thorough.
Yeah, they get obsessed, and meth doesn't help either.
Drug. Yeah, that was what was really scary. You know, you get sometimes the people that are a bit crazy or whatever, but this chick was. You could tell when she was on the see-through didgeridoo because, you know, the what she was saying was didn't make any sense, and she was quite racist, quite angry, and a gun nut as well, like into guns, and it became really, really, really scary. But you know, there's always a silver lining when you got a video out of it, you know.
And a great video it is too. No, I'm glad you picked that one because I was watching it the other night going, this is sick, man. I just love that it cuts in and out, tells a story.
The Masters verse in there, you know.
Yeah, man, that's the highlight at the end.
We love the pop culture stuff, you know, like everything being done comes out now. There's, you know, occasionally there's something new and fresh and exciting and dangerous, but you know, going back to like the old school stuff, it was good then and it's still good now and it still resonates. So any chance we get to sort of make references to back in the day, which our album being called Irrepressible, it's straight out of Monkey Magic, you know.
Oh, monkey. All right, so now going back to your school, did you go to a school where they encouraged playing music? Did you have a music class? Did you have to learn the recorder?
I went to many, many schools and I still learnt nothing. But I failed music every year because I couldn't and wouldn't learn the theory. Whereas, you know, I could play most instruments. I could play the drums. I could play the guitar. I could play the bass. You know, I could do bits and pieces of everything. But no, the first school I like. We still there?
Yeah, still here.
Yep. The first one that I was serious about playing music was Epping Boys High, Sydney, and that school, Boys High. So it was might is right, and basically all the footballers become prefects, and it was just all about sport, and music was, you know, not at all on the agenda, but. You know, we would book the music room for lunchtime and go in there and do our best to try and play Anarchy in the UK or whatever.
And do you recall your first band? Did you have a band in school? Did you form one in school at those little lunchtime things?
I had several bands from when I was about 13 onwards. The first one was a band called Contaminated Material. And the second one was this, you know, influenced one of the other guys was called Azalea Dream. And it was interesting. We did a poster back then, and it's so funny thinking back to what it was. Now, the poster was of a computer, and back then, like, oh, look, this guy's got a computer. And the picture was a computer screen, and all these people walking out of the computer screen, like, you know, that's what's going to be in the future. And it's strange. That's exactly what it sort of turned out like. But yeah, it's been a band since I've been about 13 years old. And I remember going to band practice and, you know, having to go over to the guitar teacher's house before band practice because I wanted to make sure my guitar was in tune.
Oh, wow.
Borrowing my dad's PA and, you know, all that sort of business.
Man, my first gig in my first band, the band was called At Random, and we played at a hub in Yarraville with Necrotomy, and we did Metallica covers. And we had to go on first, and everybody laughed at us. It was fucking dog shit.
I'm just going to try to push the screen here. It's just gone. I'm just trying to get the visuals back, and there we are.
All right, you mate. Yeah, there we go. Back. Oh, you. So let's say hello to everybody in the chat. I normally do it after the second song, so let's say hello to you all. Thanks for being here. We got Ed B Metal, Javelle, hello. Russ is in the house. Billiam, g'day, Seven Dust, Ali, Thomas Christ, who's slinging links to all of your stuff today. CD Baksu, hello to you. Who else do I see? Pete Johns is in the house. Pete Johns is following today's broadcast with his birthday celebration for his 9 years on YouTube. Justine Kasprick is here. Barry Glynn's making soup. I love it. Ed Zielinski's here. Who else? If you want me to call you out, type something in the chat so I can find you. Mateusz Prakowski, g'day. Jenny Jolove, welcome to you. I think I saw Bear here as well. I'll scroll down, get back to the bottom. Stay tuned. Hello. Hugh Caldwell, g'day. And if you're lurking the gherkin. Thanks for lurking. There's Leela. She says, I'm lurking. We love our lurkers. And if you're watching on the replay, g'day to you. Hope you're enjoying the show. Hit the like, subscribe, all the magic stuff that makes YouTube happen. It's really nice of you to do so. And thanks for being Ed B Metal. G'day. Ed B Metal rocks, mate. All right.
Tell me that Adam Glynn isn't watching.
I'm surprised he
He's first in line. Like when we've got a new T-shirt coming out or a new album, I don't know a bigger fan of our band than Hutchie. And like if we've got it, even the podcast coming up, he'll stay up all night to be the first one to see it.
I know. Well, he hit me up for me to interview him for rejoining Frankenbok, and I was like, "No, dude, I already interviewed you.
Yeah,
I got to have somebody else from the band."
I mean, to quickly tell you something that's sick but also funny. Hutchie's gone out of his way to get vinyl things printed and at releases here, there, and whatever platform where they can do your sort of stuff for you, where they you actually get hard copies. And we're here the other night, and Hutchie's actually bought our own albums and our own vinyl off thing, and all the guys are looking at the pictures going, "Oh, wicked! How can I get one of that?" And then we all realised that no one in the band could afford one. And I sort of said, if everyone's a good boy away on this tour this weekend, maybe the band can, get you one of your albums for Christmas.
That's it, folks. Stay true to your craft and follow your dreams, and you too can not afford your own album. Living the dream, mate.
That's it.
But we'll get to that. So, look, the first time I came across you was in a band called Lobotomy Scars.
Yes.
Tell us about Lobotomy Scars, because I remember it, and I remember seeing, I think it was the first time I saw you was at the Art House, rest in peace, the Artie. And to me, you're like very punk with a bit of funk and very unique. And tell us.
Yeah, very punk rock with Slayer influences. So I was in Sydney doing my various bands in like 7 and 8, and then a friend of a friend had a guy called Tim Meadkey come down for holidays and all that, and they were very interested. He was interested in music as well, and we hit it off real well. And around about that time, I was classed as an uncontrollable child, and I was told that I'm going to end up dead or in jail or on another planet if I don't go to Melbourne to live with my father to keep me alive. And so I moved to Melbourne, and straight away I kind of realised that cool guy that I met that had all the same sort of influences I had, that was also in Melbourne. So I called up Tim Meadkey and I said, "Hey, man, you want to get together?" And he came down and hung out, and we talked all things Dead Kennedys, Sex Pistols, and then he had this band going, and I was in a couple of bits and pieces of bands of guys from high school who couldn't quite do what I wanted to do. And then I went along to one of their rehearsals, and a Lobotomy Scars rehearsal, and I could not believe how I actually got goosebumps now talking about this. It freaked me out of the energy and how a real loud, live, angry, proper punk band, and I was just blown out. And within a week or so, they had their first gig at the Cave.
Oh wow!
Under the Nilex signs in Melbourne, and true to what bands are like, their bass player said, I'm out, I'm not doing this now. I pulled out a few days before the show. And Timmy said to me, "Any chance you can jump in on this and with 3 days notice, learn all the songs?" And I went, "Yeah, man, I'll do it." And so I learnt the bass. I was playing bass at the time, and I went and did that fill-in show, and I had such a ball. I went, these guys lived in Williamstown, and I lived in Cranbourne, and back in the day, there was one country train a day, and I just said, I don't want to fill in. I'll join this band. As illogical as that was, I just said I want to do it, and that's sort of, I ended up playing in Lobotomy Scars, and we started, as we used to have our parents drop us off at like the Art House and stuff like that, and playing with bands such as yourself and Bastard Squad back in the days, and we couldn't believe it. There's this one photo that I had blown up real big of us on the stage of the Art House, and we were like so proud that on all of our amps and all that we had VB cans. We were like, the pub, and we're playing punk rock, and we've got beers. And although we talked a little bit before the podcast started about being before our time, some of the guys in the band now, I've played the Lobotomy Scars, and they go, "This is you. This is way back then." And God, if this came out now, this would be killing it. And it's like, yeah, a bit before our time, I guess, because it was, the very Dead Kennedys, punk, Bad Religion kind of influences, you know.
If I remember well, I think we poached one of your band members.
And you can have it. Yeah.
Dude, I'll tell you a story. So for those of you that are watching, listening, they had this bass player, Sophie. And we needed a bass player. And I remember saying to the guys, "Oh, have you seen that chick who plays bass? This is in my band, Despise. She's pretty good." And I think Scotty, our guitarist, reached out to her, and they confronted me before we got her in the band, and had a sit down. We had to have a meeting, and they confronted me saying, "If we're going to get a girl in the band, especially this one, to me, that I'm not allowed to fuck her."
Yeah, well, that rule got broken, didn't it?
Well, I was fucking. It was Scotty who was the one who did it. The one who fucking broke the fucking seal.
The way out.
Yeah. You know, what's interesting, do you know how I found, look, man, I was so pissed about that because they all thought that I was going to do it, and I didn't until right at the end because I knew that was my meal ticket out the band. All you had to do was fuck her and you're out the band because that's how it worked. But do you know how I found out? I've never really spoken about this publicly. I was at work one day and there was an AM radio talkback show on, and somebody called in saying, "Hello, I play in a band and we got a girl in the band and I kind of told everybody they shouldn't fuck her and I have and I don't know how to talk to..." And that's how I found it on an AM radio fucking show.
So what did Neil Mitchell say? So not on my watch.
Yeah, not on my watch, sunshine. But it was so bizarre, man. And all the way through it, and then I watched the next band member do it. And I was just like, you guys are fucking idiots, man.
Despised actually have a bit to do, I would say, I blame Despised a little bit for all my broken bones because remember I bought Cruz's motorcycle.
Yeah.
And that's when this is when this motorcycle business started. I remember buying his bike and riding it down to the Vic Roads and parking it down the street and going for my license.
Yeah. And Cruz, we used to have this thing with Cruz, the septic Midas. We had a song about it, and everything you touch turns to shit. And he came up with that term, and funnily enough, he turned out to be the septic Midas.
Yeah, it's funny now that we're talking about this because I didn't even put the pieces together that, I went over and lived in Florida for a couple of years, which, I got to live amongst and do some side projects with some of my heroes. But it was actually old mate Useless that was in your band that actually convinced me to move to Florida. Remember Sex Machine, Nick?
Yeah.
He looked like Sex Machine from Dusk Till Dawn. Yeah. I remember sitting there going, I don't know, I got this opportunity to move to Florida and I don't know what I'm going to do. And he said, "Mate, this will all still be here when you get back." He said, "You've got an opportunity that the rest of us would kill for." He said, "Take a chance, man." And that's, which is why I kind of moved over to Florida and I came back with Frankenbok.
Yeah, I remember that too. For those who don't know, so as I moved over to Florida, I remember seeing photos of you having barbecues from Morbid Angel and shit. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, man. I remember we went to someone's house. I just come down. We're going down to Cannonball's house, and I'm like, "Who the fuck's Cannonball?" And we rock up. We get out the van, and we're walking up the driveway, and there's this Buddha statue sitting at the front door with Gene Simmons makeup on it. And then I walked in and I realised, oh my God, Cannonball is Cannibal Corpse. We stayed at Cannibal Corpse's house for the night. And I was just like, hey man, and I was just pinching myself. I couldn't believe that the people that I was amongst,
So you come back, hang on, so lobotomy scars, how did scars break up? Because you mentioned Tim. It's funny now, Tim's not in Frankenbok anymore. I remember when I saw that he left, I was like, fuck man, that's massive. Like, because you two have been, joined at the hip for years.
Yeah.
So how did, we'll get to Tim, how did Lab Scars fall apart and then move into Frankenbok?
I remember we had two brothers in the band, Les Thomas and Jack Thomas. And Jack was exposed to some pretty confronting things in his life. He stumbled across a very, very bad road accident and I think he got mugged and, you know, had a fair bit of PTSD, and he just wasn't coping very well. And then next thing you know, certain people, certain organizations or religions or whatever prey on vulnerable people. And the next thing you know, he was jihad Jack, and he was, you know, all hardcore. The Thomas brothers don't do anything by halves, and everything they get into, they do in a very extreme manner. And so he found Islam, and next thing you know, he was involved in that, and things got pretty extreme there. And obviously, things didn't sort of work out, and Timmy took over vocals, doing it for lobotomy scars, and then me and Timmy got very, very serious about our music then, and started to get a love for bands like Slayer and Morbid Angel, and wanted to get more serious about getting the music really tight and more professional and heavier and all that. And we were sort of asking our drummer, who's, you know, was just trying to play in a band with his mates. He didn't really sort of care that much what he did, but it went from being, you know, all fun and close enough as good enough that we wanted everything to be perfect and, you know, streamlined like, you know, death metal. And he opted out and said, man, it's just sort of not my thing. We were like, that's okay. So we pushed on making this band and that band, and then we end up forming another band with Timmy singing called Prozac.
Oh, yeah, fuck. How I've missed a whole part of the fucking story, haven't I?
Oh, man, I forgot about that until now, too.
Because I saw you guys at Luna Park.
I was thinking about that day just before this started. I remember I spent the whole weekend with you, and I couldn't believe you were so comfortable having no shoes on for the whole weekend. And I remember we played at Luna Park with Silverchair.
Yeah.
And we were sitting in the park being the delinquents that we were. And I remember for some reason, as you're a teenager, you think it's a good idea to set fire to a McDonald's cup. And we did that, and then plastic started to burn everywhere and melted, and a big hunk of plastic dropped on my arm and just started to burn its way through to my bone. And I've still got that scar.
Good times.
And I remember someone said, oh, man, did that hurt? Because, no, it didn't hurt. And then you turned around and went, yes, it did. And it did hurt too.
Of course it fucking did.
But yeah, Luna Park with Silverchair.
You know, I was at Luna Park this week because I filmed this series here on the channel where I walk around Melbourne and film stuff. And I walked from Port Melbourne Beach to St Kilda along the beach and ended up at Luna Park. And then that's where I was thinking when I was outside, I'm like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
Holy fuck. I got Azza on today, and I remember that gig so well. It was a sick gig.
I remember, you know, Tomorrow came out with Silverchair, and I was like, there's no way that this little kid sounds like that. This is some studio magic here. And anyway, we're about to play with them, so I'll get to find out for myself, is that can he really do this stuff? And I was blown away at how talented he was. I was like, oh my God, it's he's for real.
Yeah.
I was really impressed by them.
And like, so you've been no stranger to playing with big bands as well. So
we've played with some of the biggest. We just can't be one.
So offhand, you've played with Slayer and Machine Head, System of a Down. You want to rattle off some more?
Fear Factory, Despised, and we just did Alien Ant Farm and Drowning Pool, and it's kind of nice when I can't think of all of the great things that we've got to do, like straight off the top of my head, you know. We've been very, very lucky to play with some of the greats, you know, and Slayer tops it all. Like, as you would probably remember, we talked about Cruiser's bike. The moment I bought that motorcycle, I painted the whole thing black. One side of it had the Slayer Eagle, the other side had the Green Demon. And when I got into, we all remember Brenton Maloney. He actually gave me a couple of cassette tapes of Slayer back in the day, and again, they went into my Walkman, and you go through your Slayer period, which was 2 years, and if it wasn't Slayer, it was shit as far as I was concerned. And all I did, like, even when I was hanging out in a social situation with my friends, I'd still be like, what's that, man? Huh? Yeah, okay. I still had my headphones on in every situation, having Slayer in my head. I was so obsessed with that band. And then next thing you know, I'm standing side stage at Festival Hall. I'm about to go on stage chatting with Tom Araya.
Yeah.
It was one of the greatest experiences of my life. But
Dude, Slayer still are like top 5 for me. Like, you know, I've got an old school flag on my fucking wall. I mean, I'm so old school.
Around here, there's about 5. You know,
Yeah, they just can't be beat. But yeah, you've really killed it. Like, it was good too because for folks who are not in Australia, how it works here is an overseas band comes out, and what has happened for the most part in my life is that they'll bring out somebody really cool and you're like, fuck, man, this is going to be awesome. I wonder who's going to support them. And it's always somebody fucking shit. But when Frankenbok came along, that kind of changed because it was like, oh, Frankenbok's going to open for them. So.
Yeah, it was funny. And you talked earlier about, you know, being against the scene a little bit and sort of trying to stir things up a bit. Like, I remember Archie, like, breaking into Don't Call Me Baby at Festival Hall in front of a Slayer crowd. I'm like, you must want to get killed, man. But it was really funny seeing people, like, you know, down the front with all their battle jackets and spikes and corpse paint and all that. We start playing that song and they're like, what is this shit? And then you start seeing them going, can't help myself. Yeah.
And the irony, because we're just about to play it. So this song, we'll talk about afterwards. This is a cover that Frankenbok, this really put Frankenbok on the map. It, you know, it changed a lot of things for you guys. Let's play it.
That Don't Call Me Baby band. Man, are you? I was like, absolutely.
Yeah. Fucking, we'll take it. Absolutely. So you'll probably know the song, guys. It's a cover. It's completely different than the original, but it's fucking awesome. It's super old school, this video, which is on Channel V, which I dug up on Facebook. Let's play it. Let's get into it. Let's Oja.
Make it something really cool. But you think I'm not the kind of girl. I'm here to tell you,
I know how to rock your world. Don't think that I'm not strong. I'm the one to take you on. Don't want the rest of me, big boy. I'll make you sorry you were born. You don't know me the way you really should. You show me how to understand. Don't call me baby. You got some nerve, believe me, that'll never do. You know I don't belong to you.
it's talking to you, I'm not your baby. Well, I belong to me, so don't call me baby.
Don't call me baby.
Behind my smile is my IQ. I must admit it doesn't sit with the likes of you. You're really sweet, ooh, you're really nice.
But did it for my habitat, you're not to play with fire. Don't think that I'm not strong, I'm the one to take you on. Want the rest of me, big boy, I'll make you sorry you were born. You don't know me the way you really should. You show me how to understood. Don't call me baby. You got some nerve and baby, that'll never do. You know I don't belong to you.
It's talking to you, I'm not your baby. Well, I belong to me, so don't call me baby.
Don't call me baby. Don't call me baby. Yeah. You and me, we have an opportunity and we could make it something really good. I'm not to think, I'm not to think, I'm not the kind of girl. I'm here to tell you, baby, I know how to rock you.
Don't think that I'm not strong. I'm the one to take you on. Don't underestimate me, boy. I'll make you sorry you were born.
You don't know me
The way you really should.
You show me misunderstood. Don't call me baby. You got
Don't Call Me Baby by Frankenbok. It's our halfway point of the show. We need to hear from our sponsor today, which is DistroKid. So I'm going to run this ad and leave you with this. You ready, folks? Let's ja. This presentation is proudly sponsored by DistroKid. Introducing DistroKid, your ultimate music distribution solution. For just $29.99 a year, DistroKid empowers you to release unlimited tracks on all major music platforms worldwide, including Spotify, Apple Music, TikTok, and so many more. Plus, use my link distrokid.com/VIP/Jade and get 7% off your first year. You'll also keep 100% of your royalties and gain access to valuable tools like instant verification on Spotify and detailed revenue analytics. Don't let your music go unheard. Join DistroKid today and take your music career to the next level. Thank you, DistroKid, for sponsoring today's presentation. Absolutely. Thank you so much, DistroKid, for all that you do here for my channel and so many musicians. And you know what I'm going to say? I love you, DistroKid. Anyway, it gets creepy when I do that. So let's bring Azza back on. Don't Call Me Baby.
I won't, sweetie.
So what was your reaction when that took off?
Awesome. People are listening.
Did you expect it to happen?
No, it was not even. It was not planned. We were in studio in Back Beach, Rye, with DW Norton recording, and at the same time, Madison Avenue were in the next studio, and every day for quite some time we heard pumping out. And we kind of finished what we had planned to do. With still some time and money left, and I think I sort of said, "Hey, how funny would it be to like do a cover of that?" And I think DW spun around on his chair straight away and said, "Dudes, if you do it, do it. The novelty song. I reckon if you guys do that, I reckon it'll be awesome. But I reckon I could probably get you on Triple J as a novelty thing, and we might be able to get even some prime time during the day playing that song because it's the cover and all that sort of thing." And of course, I spoke to Andy Vance from Madison Avenue and said, "Hey man, we wouldn't mind covering the song. Would that be okay?" And he said, "Well, why?" And I said, "Because we dig it, man." And he said, "He's going to take the piss out of me or change the words or anything?" I said, "No, we're just going to do the song as it is." And he was like, he was a bit sus on us, but he said, "Okay, well, your people can speak to my people and sort this out legally, but that's okay." What he didn't know is we didn't have any people. And we just went, "Okay, that means it's cool." And we just did it. And then, of course, record company, which we were with Roadrunner Records at the time, saw, the value in having a cover song, a novelty song out there straight away. And they pushed really hard for us to do a video with that, which not everybody in the band was very happy with because we wanted to, try and push our own stuff. But they convinced us, just bear with us and do what we say, and we'll do this video, and then we'll trust us. Record company, trust us. We'll get real serious on, doing another video clip for like one of the other songs. And and so it came out, and it ended up on a bunch of compilations, and DW was right. He, it was 12 o'clock on daytime radio and Triple J, and there was Double Kickers and Hutchie screaming some death metal vocals, and it worked. And I know over the years that Hutchie was sort of not happy and almost maybe even possibly embarrassed about that, but I think he's come right around now. People would come up to us and go, "Man, I'd never heard of you guys, but I heard the Don't Call Me Baby thing on a compilation, and I didn't really get into that sort of music, because after I got that, I bought the album to get that song, and now I've heard all your other stuff. I'm a big fan. I've got your other albums too, so it's done wonders for us." And said, just recently we did this tour, and I had people coming up to us and, "You're that Don't Call Me Baby band, right?" I said, "Yeah, and we're playing with that. We're playing with that Smooth Criminal band. Alien Ant Farm." There's, not many people know anything that they've done besides their cover, which was kind of interesting that we were playing with a band with a sort of a similar history.
Yeah.
But I think it's great. Like I've never not thought that it's not still funny. I still enjoy it, and even in the video clip, we had a guest appearance. There was Michael in there, who was like one of the stars from Neighbours and stuff, was one of the debt collectors in there, and it was a whole lot of fun.
It's interesting because, I mean, it's just something you have to suck up and deal with. I mean, a lot of bands throughout history, the dawn of time, the songs they never really expect to be the songs that people love are the ones that people love. I mean, when I was in Despised, we released this stupid demo, the elevator music for acrophobiacs, and we put on this shitty song called Septic Midas at the end of it, which everybody hated the guts out of. And every fucking gig we did, everybody wanted that song, and it was shit.
Yeah, which still impresses me that when the last time I saw Faith No More, I saw them play Epic, and the way they played that song was like they wrote it last week.
Yeah.
They still had the same amount of enthusiasm into it, and you know how many times they've done that sort of stuff, but to watch them play it with the same amount of enthusiasm is so impressive, because I think that they could play that in their sleep.
You have to. You've kind of got a duty to do it, because hey, people like what people like, and if that's what they like, give it to them. There's no point fighting against it.
That's right, and what you play in your bedroom is up to you. But if you've got some people that have caught a train and paid some money to see you and all that sort of stuff, you really should try to give your audience what they want. You know, it's great when a band comes out with a new album and a new this and that, but you go and see a band and they play hour and a half set of songs that you've never ever heard before, and it's like, we just want to hear Rain in Blood, man.
Yeah. So you come out of Prozac, and Prozac's around for a while, is successful, does a lot of gigs around, and Adam Glynn's in a band called Bacterium.
Yes.
And in a smaller band called Filth.
Yep.
So you decide to create Frankenbok. How does Frankenbok come about?
Just back to Filth.
Yeah.
That album cover, that was my photo.
Yeah, it was too. It was. We all, everybody had a little fucking input into Filth, which is now FMC. The real Filth is FMC, but whatever. That's another story.
So how do we get to Prozac?
From Prozac to Frankenbok.
Prozac was falling apart. My mother was living in America, and just out of the blue one day, she called me up and said, "Would you like to come and live over here with me and try this out?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't want to leave my hometown, or, where I'm comfortable with all my friends and all that." I was still pretty young, and no, I wasn't ready to move to another country. I was scared of that. And then within the same couple of days, someone gave me a VHS tape and said, "Check this out, man." And I came and put it in the old VCR player, and the first thing that came up on the screen was Florida in fire across the screen. And I went, "That's where I've just been invited to go live." And then it was a Florida death metal special with Morbid Angel and all Cannibal Corpse, all those bands. And I went, "You know what? I think I might have just changed my mind." And then going back to the affiliation with each other, it was the guitarist that was in your band at the time that said, "Mate, you've got an awesome opportunity here. You'd be mad not to do it. All this stuff will still be here. It'll still be the same when you go. He said, go and take this opportunity. You can always come home if you don't like it." And I went, "He's so right." And so I did that and moved over to Florida, hated it for the first couple of months, was talking about coming home. And then I met the right dude trying to join bands, and I went and hung out at this rehearsal space like they had in Florida back in the day. They all had like storage garages, and 3 or 4 of the bands would be all rehearsing next to each other while in between there'd be a guy working on his car or his boat or whatever. And that's the way the Florida scene was. And remember hanging out with this band called Raped Ape, who Molested Monkey. And I remember hearing the drummer say, "Yeah, Pete Sandoval, man, the guy still fucking owes me $50. Just like, oh my God, he's talking about Pete Sandoval, the drummer from Morbid Angel, like he's just another bloke. And next thing you know, in the mix with all my heroes. And it was really sort of hard to sort of, contain my excitement when you're, sitting down to dinner with people that it was only a few months ago, they were people that only existed on posters and videos on my wall, And then I started doing side projects with some of these people, and I couldn't quite get anything off the ground because they were busy with their real bands. And I was almost going to join a band called Monstrosity,
Right.
full technical death metal sort of stuff. And I was working my heart out to learn these songs because they were a bit beyond my capabilities at the time. And I'd get a whole song down and I'd go, awesome, I think I'm ready to do it. I can play this. And then I'd get to one run that'd do this crazy, you know, I don't know, just crazy musical bit. And I'd be like, I've got the whole song down, but I can't play the like last roll. And right as I was about to try out for that band, a guy called Jason Morgan, who was also in the band at the time, said to me, man, you don't want to join this band because you won't really get a say in what to play. You'll be a hired gun to do that. And he says, I've been hearing your little demo tapes that you're doing and all that. And he said, you've got something there, man. It's different. And you said, if I could give you any advice, I think you shouldn't worry about any of those things and just concentrate on what you're doing because it's different. And you, as a writer, you get to do whatever you want. And he said, and I'm leaving as well. So I kind of went, you know what? I think I'll do that. And because I was in amongst these guys from these bigger bands, what they would do is one band would be playing in the other band's town and they'd do the show. And then afterwards, they'd go back to one of the guys' houses and they'd have a drum machine and they'd have all these little side projects that they were working on that was really cool. And I got influenced by them. I went, you know what? If I get a drum machine, I can't be stopped. And so with their influence, I got myself a little drum machine and started writing songs and did me Frankenbok demos. And then things got weird over there and I moved back here. And I was actually only moving to Melbourne, coming back to Melbourne to sort of for a few high fives and a few catch ups and all that. And then I was going to move back to New South Wales. I was just visiting Melbourne, but I came back and played my demos to Hutchie, Adam Glynn, and he's like, I reckon we should do this, man. We should make this a band. And I was like, so what do we do as a bass player? And I went, Timmy, what are you doing? Joins the band, and next thing you know, I'm not going anywhere. And here I've stayed. We started Frankenbok back then in the day, and the guy that I was talking about, Jason Morgan, he actually is responsible for the silly name Frankenbok because he was asking me how to speak Australian, and he said, what do people really talk like over there? And I said, oh, people say shit like bloody oath and another thing. They say, oh, fair income's a word. What's that mean? And I said, oh, fair income means you're like, you know, are you fair income? Yeah, man, I'm for real. Like, it's a definite, it's legit. And say, it's fair income. And he's like, in his big Tennessee accent, he's like, Frankenbok, I think I like that word. Anyway, he went on his way, and then I saw him about 3 weeks later, and he comes up to me and goes, hey, Aussie, Frankenbok. I said, I beg your pardon?
Fucking Americans.
Oh, Frankenbok. I said, mate, I've got no idea what you... He goes, yes, you do. That Aussie word, Frankenbok. I went, oh, you think you're saying fair income? He's like, yeah, Frankenbok. And just Chinese whispers, just like in his head, it sort of translated, and he'd been getting around for 3 weeks. You know what they say in Australia? And so I had my little demo tape sort of finished, and we pulled out, you know, the world news, newspapers that used to get along with no real news whatsoever. And we pulled a couple of funny pictures out of there, and what am I going to call this? And I went, it's pretty obvious, isn't it? Because we couldn't stop saying Frankenbok. So we called it that as a joke. I got back to Australia and showed Hutchie the demo tape called Frankenbok. And then we had our first gig coming up at the Mechanics Hall in Frankston. And we were like, what are we going to call this band? So, you know what? We'll go with Frankenbok for now, and we'll think about something proper later on. And then obviously we didn't think of anything proper later on. And one of the reasons why we sort of kept the name was nobody else had it. There was no other Frankenboks out there. You know, it was pretty hard to, everything cool was sort of taken back then. And the fact that, what we thought was just a made up word, we thought, well, we'll stick with this. And we did. And we found out later there's a German fighter plane called the Frankenbok, and there's a beer called Yeah, so we weren't as original as we thought we were, but yeah, that's sort of how Frankenbok got going. And then we started playing gigs. I think we did about maybe 2.5 years of live shows with a drum machine, and because I was, we're not going to settle for a drummer that couldn't do the music that we wanted to do. So we, it was a drum machine for live shows for almost 3 years.
Always fun with a drum machine. I did it in FMC for the longest time with a PlayStation, and fucking hell, the things you do to be different, eh?
Well, that you do because rather than dealing with someone else, that you can find another way, to do it. To just sometimes if a person can't do it, there's a digital one that can.
We got Cold Acre in the chat, James. You've met James.
Sorry?
James in the chat. You've met James. I'm pretty sure you know James. He says, I've met Aaron. I've never met Aaron, but I've seen him at 100 times at the Bendy. There we go. So you'd probably know him if you saw him. That's the way Melbourne scene works, isn't it? So you come out. This is your first album, Greetings and Salutations. It does really good things. You get... How many albums do you have now? There's quite a few. 9? 8? 9?
Yeah.
There's
I got old brain. Brad, remember?
I should have done my research. I'll count them here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What have we got? 10. 11 it says here. And that's not even including the new one. So you get this new album out. Remember all that? I remember back in the day, all the drama with Roadrunner Records and the Wolves and all that shit. And you guys were the face, pretty much, here of Roadrunner Records. In my opinion, I believe so. I remember we went to Roadrunner Records as FMC.
I heard all about it.
The video's up on my channel if you want to see it.
You frightened the hell out of John Satterley.
Dude, we gave him a bottle of perfume that had piss in it. I don't think they know. I don't think we told them, and someone there was spraying it on themselves.
Yeah, he told us all about it with wide eyes. He was like, and these guys come in and like, your mission was successful. He freaked out.
Yeah. Did you go to that Roadrunner thing when they buried nu metal? Were you at that?
I've got something that was very interesting. It's funny when you meet, people that are successful, or you hear about, oh, that guy's a fucking asshole, man. He's so arrogant and all that. Well, they were loving us all the way up to the point where they asked to do the death of nu metal thing, and we're like, well, aren't you guys behind nu metal anyway? But they said, oh, we're going to do this really cool thing, and we're going to like bury a bunch of CDs and this and that. And we were like, you know what? We really want to be involved in that. And they're like, oh, fucking, who do you think you are? All of a sudden, you fucking, and we're like, well, no, we're not being jerks or, think that we're unreal, but we sort of, is it okay if we don't do something? And the moment you don't do something that somebody wants, that you're an arrogant asshole or something like that, or, and the lucky thing for us was we're sort of having a few problems over because we didn't want to do that. And then one of us realized, hey, we're actually playing in Sydney then anyway. And we're like, you know what? Awesome. I'm very sorry, but we cannot do it because we're not going to be around. And then Dreadnought got roped into doing it.
Dude, it was fucked. I went to that. And so for those of you, you've probably got no idea what we're talking about. Roadrunner Records, so they moved here to Australia. They signed a bunch of bands. Frankenbok was one of them. They sent out these invitations. They were like via emails, like a coffin, and it was like the death of nu metal. They piled us all onto a bus. They drove us out to this fucking nowhere land, to this church. They had a mock burial of nu metal, and they put a turntable in the coffin and board shorts and all this shit. It was so ridiculous. They filled us up with cans of Vic Bitter on the way in the bus, and then the audacity to take us back to the office and then go, I hope you all enjoyed that. Anyway, here's our new band we've signed, Kill Switch Engage, who are nu metal.
Yeah, check that chamber. This is where it's at now.
Yeah, what the fuck was all that about? It just didn't make any sense. It was ridiculous.
Just hearing you explain what went on, you could imagine when they were telling us what was going to happen, how we were kind of like, maybe we might not do that if that's cool.
You would have been proud, man. Me and I think it was Riley, during this ceremony, we yelled out, up the irons. Oi, oi, oi. And when they were dropping the casket into the ground, I walked over above the casket and spat on the coffin and yelled, and here's one for your father. And they didn't like that too much, but we were pissed up. We were drunk.
Yeah, well, you mess with the bull, you get the horns.
Exactly, that's the way it rolls. So you released all these albums here, and they're all available on. I think they're all available on Bandcamp and on streaming services. So I do recommend you go and grab them. They're all killer stuff. But amongst all these, on the second album, Loopholes and Great Excuses, you lost your vocalist Adam Hutch, who I've interviewed here on the show. Was that a big shoe to fill? Because over the years you've had several vocalists and several lineup changes, and now he's back.
He's back with a vengeance. Yeah, it was massive. You can sometimes replace a bass player or your DJ or whatever, and sometimes people don't even notice. But pretty scary thing when you've got to replace, the lead singer in the band. So yeah, it was really scary. But then Adam B. Metal came along, and he's got a great set of pipes, and he was really, really keen and really, really capable, and we just pushed on, and that's what we've been doing. Like some people get on the bus, some people get off the bus, but the bus doesn't actually stop; it'll slow down for you, and that's what's happened over the years. There's some people have left for not any other reason that it's like, hey man, like I've put in like 15 years. I wouldn't mind sort of doing something else, and they've just sort of outgrown it, and like, that's fine. And we've had to employ somebody different to just sort of keep moving.
Yeah, and I'm no stranger to lineup changes, and despised had many of them as well too. And lots of Melbourne. It's a kind of a bit of curse with Aussie bands that we go through a fair few lineup changes. Hey, life gets in the fucking way. It's funny how people always think that there's some. They always want there to be an underlining issue.
Yes.
Some kind of gossip and shit like that. But most of the time it's not. It's just fucking, I've got other shit. I can't do this.
With me and Hutchie, there was a bunch of controversy. We didn't speak for almost 20 years because there was some bad blood, and realising that bad blood was nothing except youth and inexperience and not knowing how to communicate properly and handle things. So rather than say, okay, man, that's cool, like, we'll still knock around and see each other in the future and do stuff. It was like, well, fuck you. Yeah, well, fuck you too, man. And, I remember when me and Hutchie rekindled our friendship, and he said straight away, he said, man, thanks for this opportunity to sort of be friends again. I'd just like to start out by apologising from the way I behaved back in the day. And I said, well, your apology's not accepted, man, because it's not necessary. Because maybe I should be giving you an apology because I'm pretty sure that I didn't handle everything as I should have, because I didn't really know what was happening and I had no experience. But apology is not accepted because it's not necessary, man. I don't even remember what the problem was. Also, we were children.
Yeah.
We were kids. We'd never experienced we'd never experienced any of this sort of stuff, and we didn't really know how to handle things with communication things. So yeah, there was some weird, strange, bad blood, which I can't even remember what it's about. But yeah,
it is like that. I've got still issues with people that I fucking can't even remember what it was over, and most of the time it's over just nothing. So let's play
like at the time, but when you sort of grow up and get a few hairs on your chest or wherever, you kind of go, fuck, man, I was thinking this was the be all and an end all, and it's like, this is small potatoes, and I was kind of acting like a dick.
Let's play a track. I'm going to play an older one here, and then we're going to play some tracks from the new album and get out of here for the day. We've got about half an hour left before Pete Johns is on. In fact, you know what? Let's just cut to some new stuff. That's what we're here for. I'm going to play Demon Tantrum. Let's get into this. This was the first track, I'm assuming, that dropped before the album, from what I remember. I think
Correct.
I'm right. I do follow you.
This was an accident song. This was not meant to be released.
And so we're going to play it now. Let's. This is Demon Tantrum, folks. You ready to oge? Make sure I'm all good. Let's do it right now. Demon Tantrum by Frankenbok. Well, fuck me drunk.
Nasty.
It's interesting because, like, when it kicks off that track, it reminded me when I first heard it. I'm like, "Holy shit! Are you guys going in the direction of Adam's solo stuff?" Because it kind of reminds me of Adam's solo stuff. And then that riff, that that is such a fucking I want to stab people in the face riff.
Yeah, and the video blew me out too. It was the best video I've ever been involved in. I didn't leave the house. I didn't even make a phone call. Hutchie called me and said, I got a good mate of mine wants to do us a video. And I went, yeah, okay. And then a couple of days later, I'm sitting there and Hutchie sent me the video and it finished. And I was like, me and my wife watched it and we were speechless and said, what do you think of that? I said, I don't know. Let's watch it again. And usually if we're making a video, I'm off to the $2 shop for costumes and bullshit and generators and this and that. And I'm like, greatest video ever. I didn't even leave the house.
Yeah, Hutchie reached out to me because I did a video clip for one of his original songs. He reached out to me and asked if I could do a clip, and I'm just too busy these days to do anything. So I'm glad he found somebody, because if I had time like I did back when I did his clip and I was fucking laying around doing shit all.
There's still time, and there's a few other. You're welcome to any song you want.
So Adam comes. Let's give. We're skipping around here because we don't have much time. But you go through all these lineup changes. You continue to release albums. You continue to support international acts in a scene where bands fall apart all the time. It's a hard scene here in Australia. Pubs closing down. The scene has changed a lot from when we were young. Used to go and play fucking anyway. You still didn't get paid. The Richmond Club, you used to play the Richmond Club. That guy used to try and give you acid trips. Sarah Sands, all those places gone. God, I got punched in the head by the fucking owner of the Sarah Sands. I wonder why. Was it something I said on stage?
Oh,
could have been. But things.
I think it was the sleeping bag.
Yeah, probably.
Playing in a place and. I was like, who's the owner of the joint? And you open up this door and there's this hovel. The rats scatter and so do the cockroaches. And the guy who's running the show is still in his sleeping bag, sleep floor, smoking bongs and stuff.
But things have changed, and you've persisted to do this thing, against, with the lack of money and all the shit. So I've got a question about that later on. But so I saw you doing this reunion gig where you brought back all your old singers. And that was incredible. I got to watch it, and it was fucking sick to see how many people turned up and how into it everybody was. But Hutchie, who hasn't been in the band for years, since you've had this falling out over whatever you can't remember, now he's back in the band. How does that go down? What's the conversation? And did it just slot into place?
A lot of people think that after seeing the reunion thing that it was possibly a planned thing. As far as Hutchie's going to end up back in the band, and it absolutely wasn't, but sort of was and sort of wasn't. After we did that, the chemistry with Hutchie was obviously still there. And Dan McDougall, the singer at the time, had this idea about doing a new album and having dual vocals, having them both do something on it. And I was like, okay, this is an interesting idea. You know what? This actually just doesn't even seem like an idea. This just seems like it's meant to happen. And that was what we were going to be doing. And that never really sort of came about for whatever reasons. And then when Dan sort of said that I've got other interests in doing different businesses and things, and I don't know if I can commit time-wise, and I don't know what my future is, and I'm finding it hard to fit everything in. I've been hanging out with Hutchie on a regular basis, watching movies and listening to records and doing stuff just socially. And we were always talking about doing these side projects with these other bands and stuff, and I just said, I really want to do all that sort of stuff, but Frankenbok takes up so much of my time. As much as I'd love to, I don't know if I can fit it in, because that's my focus is with the band. And then when Dan said that he couldn't really commit like he was, Hutchie called me up one day, not long after this had happened, and he said, "How you going, man?" I went, "Yeah, pretty good." And he knows me well enough to know straight away. He said, "What's wrong, man?" And I said, "Well, it's happened again, man. The band has possibly fallen apart. We don't know what we're going to do. We don't really have a singer now. And I honestly thought getting another singer now and me being the only original member, another singer, I'm like, this is looking kind of sad. And I really was thinking about, you know what, a new paint job, a new name, and let's just start over again rather than, you know, being one of those bands, you know. And then it didn't even occur to me that with Hutchie, and he said to me, hey, man, I still love just making up vocals and working on songs and all that. He says, I've been spending a lot of my time going out and partying and all that sort of stuff and then nursing my self-inflicted injuries the next. I would really love, if it's okay with you, would you send me the files just so I could spend my weekend just doing some vocals and stuff like I used to, and I'll send it back to you. And if no one ever hears it, that's just something that I want to do for fun. And the space of, I think, 2 days, he sent back with, ideas for every single song. And I just heard that sound, and is the old goosebumps again. I heard that sound. I went, I'm so foolish. Like what I need to do is not get another singer, or we can not get a different singer. We can go back to formula. And I remember calling Hutchie and said, man, I need you to rejoin this band. You got any interest in joining this band? And he said to me, mate, I've decided that I am done with playing music and I'm done with bands. However, I'm like a heroin addict. I've been sober for like 10 years, but you put a bag of smash down in front of me and I will fuck up my life so quick to be back in this band. And next thing you know, we're back to doing stupid covers. And Hutchie just brought back the original feeling of anything goes, entertain every idea. And it's just, people sort of think, oh, you guys have gone back to formula. And I'm like, yeah, it's not a calculated thing. It's just when me and Hutchie get together, it's kind of what comes out. So it was a beautiful thing. It just sort of happened. And there's a lot of fans saying, man, I've always followed all your stuff and I've liked everything that you're doing. But if I can just be honest with you, this is the band that I fell in love with. You've got the chemistry that was the reason why I've started following Frankenbok in the first place, and it seems like it's back now. And so it's great. It's my beliefs these days, it's almost like this was meant to be. You've just got to kind of go with the organic flow of what's supposed to happen and just hold on for the ride. And so it just came about very organically and all very naturally, man.
Yeah, it seems that way too. Like, for me, watching from the outside, it definitely seems that way. And, I think most people will agree, following your career like I have, like things got more serious, like the metal got more metal and the vocals got more fucking... And, the original flavour of Frankenbok, to me, what I remember, was very unique and very fun, and it just feels like that's what's going on, because even this album, you recorded this yourselves. This wasn't in a studio. What was the process of recording the album yourselves?
It was strange. So Dan started another business called Volume Dealer, and his whole idea was to get bands in, record a live set, and do their merch and do this and that, basically a one-stop shop for a rock and roll band. And to get things off and running, he asked us to come in and be the guinea pigs to system check to make sure that things were working. And we did that. We went and recorded everything sort of live, and you sat back, we had the drum tracks and all that, and we were using that to rehearse to. And then we did have all these plans to go back and re-record everything, as they say, do it properly. But we were working with the drum tracks and the things that we have, and it was probably Tommy and Hutchie that were often sort of saying, mate, I don't know what you want and what you think you're going to get by going and doing things properly, as people say, but there's nothing wrong with this. Yeah. And I kind of went, you know what? I think I agree. And we convinced Dan that, like, man, we just want to work with what we've got. And I recorded the guitars at home. Hutchie did the vocals in his kitchen, and we just bits like that. Bass guy Owen on bass went in and redid his bass, and it was just sort of, it was done like that. And I remember Tommy, the drummer, saying, I could go back and maybe there's one or two human parts that I didn't quite nail it. I can get those perfect, but we won't run the risk of, some of the other parts that are really jamming. What if that doesn't have exactly the same, awesomeness that it does there? And like, we fix one bit, but we sort of don't pull off something as well as we did on one of the other parts. And he said, man, the dishes are done. Like, and the parts that aren't musically precise, it's because there's human beings playing it. And I think that's something that, keep the warts and all in that. And people could, listening to early Slayer albums and all that sort of stuff, you're not listening to a computer. You can actually, you're along for the ride and you can hear it. Is he going to make it? Whereas, some stuff, like some bands like Fear Factory or a lot of bands that have got the drums completely, edited and all that sort of stuff, it loses some of its excitement because that it's all going to be note perfect and timing perfect and all that, which loses a bit of a human element. We do know there's no click track with everything. It's all real. It's all humans playing it. And I'm technically pretty challenged. I'm still putting liquid paper on the screen. I can't work. Computers is not. So I recorded all the guitars and stuff myself, and I probably could have had somebody, one of the kids or someone, help me do drop-ins and all that. And I was like, no, I would play the track and I'd get almost to the end and I'd be nervous that I'm almost there to the end and I'd fuck up the last bit and I'd go, you know what, arsehole? You're going back to the start of the song. And so just did things as real and as humanly possible. So, the tracks, it was like from start to finish rather than dropping bits in. So it sort of came about like that.
Yeah. Look, there's something said for mistakes in albums. I say it all the time on this show, all the time. Sometimes it's the mistakes in songs that are the parts that you go, oh, that bit's wild. Like, I don't. As you said, I don't think we could recreate that ever again.
There's a particular mistake in one of the songs that we really wanted to fix, and these days it's our favourite bit, and we've learnt to play it.
See,
and every time it comes to that bit, which is not quite right, the drummer does his best to do the mistake as best as he could there, and we all kind of look at each other and go, "There's that little bit," and it's one of the best parts of the song now, I reckon, because it's like it does something that it's probably not supposed to do, but we do it with precision, because we've worked real hard at getting that mistake exactly as the mistake that it was. We've learnt it and we play it like that.
So I've only got a couple of more questions, but I forgot. I wanted to slot this song in because when I saw the video clip, I did laugh my tits off. This is called, let's just play it, and I'll come back, ask you a couple more questions, and we'll play our last track. This is We're Not the Drummers.
What you talking about?
What you talking about, Willis? That's Oja. I've never heard the Family Ties theme song sound so good.
Shalala.
Shalala, in a breakdown. Fuck. Douche.
Some good ideas, eh? It's great.
Yeah. Look, again, it's those callbacks. I'm a big retro head myself. I love callbacks to anything retro. And, the Drummers deserve it.
Yeah, and as funny as it is, serious. It sprouts from serious ideas and serious content. Like Hutchie and I didn't grow up in the Keaton family. It was not perfect and all that. And it's a bit of a, homage to people that like haven't had the best upbringing or the most perfect family. And Hutchie used to, with all this craziness going on behind him, he'd sit around and watch these TV shows like with the Drummers and wishing that he lived in a sitcom family.
Yeah, true. Absolutely. Hey, Falcro, thank you for the nice words. Hello, Queen, and anyone who's been here watching, thank you all for being here. We've got a couple of questions. Cold Acre asks briefly, what's the best venue you've played in Melbourne and why?
I would have to say, what's it? All of a sudden, I've got a blank. The Forum. The Forum in Melbourne, because
that's a nice venue.
I seen bands there, and I was just like, I feel like I'm in a Coliseum.
Yeah.
It's just beautiful. And then not long after, I had this dream, geez, I'd love to play here. I was doing filling guitars for a band, and then we got to play with Sebastian Bach.
Ooh.
At Forum. and I remember coming out on the stage, and it sounded amazing and all that. I remember like looking around, because of the way that the roof is painted and all the statues are in there. I actually felt like we were playing outdoors, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful venue with a great sound and all that. And we've recently just done this tour with the Alien Ant Farm Drowning Pool guys, and I really did notice for the different venues that we played at, all the best venues weren't like the Metro in Sydney, where it's like it's a dark rock club and full of just rock and roll sort of dark sticky carpet. Every venue that we played at, like all these couple of theaters as well, and you would walk into these old theaters and they've just got all this nostalgia about them, and they've just got this vibe of great things going on, and these old beautiful buildings that are designed to sound perfect and all that are my favorite places to play. But we'll play at Woolworths, mate. We'll play anywhere. We've done them thinking, we're playing at, Rod Laver Arena. And we're like, this is going to be unreal. And then we realised, where we're playing is out the back of the Dunny block. And
the Dunny.
But we don't care. Like, if you give us a PowerPoint, we'll turn up and do it.
I love it. Speaking of, Aaron, what keeps you motivated to continue with Frankenbok?
Insanity. I often ask myself that, especially recently. It's now, or this far down the track, it's not what I do, it's who I am. It's part of absolutely the person that I am that does this. And can't tell you how many times that I've thought about waking up to myself and getting a nice car and going on a holiday like normal people do, but it's in reality, I just know that I won't cope with that, because this is part of who I am, and it's what I need to do to keep myself happy. There's no particular reason. It's just seems like the right thing to do, to just push on, and you know what? You can't keep punching and not eventually make a dent, and it's strange. I feel like we're going through a bit of a resurgence. Once I feel like, we might be sort of flogging a dead horse here. Now we've got the excitement of it feels like it's starting to take off again. So, there's a lot to be said from being resilient and just sticking with something through the bad times. And, we're in a phase of now the good times again, which would definitely never have happened if I had thrown in the towel.
I love it. I love your resilience, and I think more people should stick at things, because it's always the long It's the long game. Like it always is the long game. You know, if you play short-sighted, you're never going to win. I ask everybody this question who comes on the show, so you're no different. If you're going to give advice to someone just starting out making music or being creative or doing something, when would be the best time for them to start?
When would be the best time for them to start making music or start a band?
Yeah, or just to get into doing it.
Now.
Exactly. It's not a trick question.
It's like having kids, you know, like for some people they're like, oh, but you've got to make sure that my job is right and my house is perfect and all that sort of stuff. That's not life. That's not how it works. There is no perfect time. The time to do things is while you think immediately, you know, just if you wait until everything to the stars are aligned until everything's perfect, and you like that time almost will never come. You just got to grab what you can and get started, get on with it.
Totally. That's why I ask it. I ask that question every time just to remind people, fucking do it. It's the Nike tick. I want to thank you for coming on the show. Folks, all of the links to Frankenbok, everything is in the description. Go buy something from Bandcamp. Go stream something. Go listen to something. Go check them out. Support them because they're a killer band. They have been putting in their hard work for years and paid their motherfucking dues, and one of Australia's most loved. I think that anyway. That's my opinion. Just for hard work and continued evolving music, and it's just so good to see you guys happy. And that video clip that we opened with is fucking killer. I hope it was worth having a robot hand for forever.
That was and that was a whole lot of. It was actually really trying that day. It was hard, but when you're talking about you went out on location and all that, if I was to flip my phone around, I'm on location. It was funny when you're putting together a video of like, you know, we go get props and hire this and that. And it's like you look around my house and you go, some of the things like the big chair that's in it. We're like on the day that we're shooting, we didn't actually have any ideas. We went, let's just shoot some shit and see what happens. And someone looked over in the corner and went, hey, let's use that chair. You know, like everything you need is at my house. So people say, let's have a dress up. So like, let's go out and get some stuff. And I said, no, man, I've got everything.
I love it. I think it's wicked. We're going to go out and play The Fallen Phoenix. Please hang on the line for me, and the show will end after this, just so I can say goodbye to you off the air. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out in the chat live. If you're watching on the replay, thank you as well. Like, subscribe, all that magical stuff. I want to thank DistroKid for sponsoring the show. Anything you want to say before I play this song?
It's important. It's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice.
Fuck yeah. Absolutely. And that goes to you, the guy who left a comment on my video yesterday saying, you're a man.
How does he fucking know?
Fucking hell. Go suck a bag of dicks, dickhead. Anyway, let's get out of here. This is The Fallen Phoenix. Let's motherfucking Oja!
Just